What up, Clecards? This is the Hitman here, doing my video response for your subscriber contest. As far as collecting, I got into collecting long when I was young. I started collecting. Actually, my first things that I started collecting it wasn't even sports cards. It was actually the Star Wars cards. I had actually started collecting Star Wars, and this was back in 77, 78, 79. I started collecting Star Wars cards, and then from Star Wars cards it just went on to sports. I didn't get into the sports cards until till 84, 85. I got into sports cards. And like I said, well, actually my card, like I said, I collected the Star Wars, and I collected actually the Kiss cards. When Kiss cards came out, I had the first two series of the Kiss cards. I have the first two series of the Star Wars cards also. Now mainly I just do sports cards now. I did dabble a couple of years in comics. I dabbled in comics for about 10 years. I started in '93 and stopped somewhere between 2003 and 2004. But I've always, after I started collecting sports cards, that's just been my thing. I just always collect the sports cards. Every once in a while, like I said, the Galacta files from Star Wars, I got a box of that. I just want to see what they look like. I haven't bought too much stuff as the Star Wars cards came out, but I did like these, so I picked up a box. And as far as I guess you were talking about, your experience with being at a professional event, whether you were in an event or whatever. I actually have two stories for that. It's kind of funny. Well, it's not really funny, but it's after I thought about it, because it's actually this happened to me. It was my freshman year in high school. I played, well, of course, freshman year in high school, you pretty much go both ways. I played offense and defense. I was middle linebacker on defense, and we were like in a goal line stance. They were about like on the 5-yard line, and being the middle linebacker, you get blocked by the guards and sometimes the fullbacks coming out of the backfield or off the line. So anyhow, that course, it was a run play, like a what was it, the 2-gap dive, I believe it probably was. And of course I rushed in to stuff the hole. I got hit on one side by the guard, knocked off my helmet. The running back was still coming, and I still made the tackle, but kind of still using my head, like if I still had my helmet on. And luckily this was like in the fourth quarter already, so because I actually got taken out of the last 30 minutes because I did bust my head open. I ended up getting 9 stitches right on my forehead because he put his head down, I put my head down, and I still tackled him. And the coach was telling me, he says, that you're just crazy. And I was like, well, hey, when you're playing, you're playing. You don't really care what's going on. My helmet came off. I didn't really pay attention to it. I just knew I had to make a tackle. And as far as another one in another one of my sporting events was I played baseball and football for my high school. And this was actually my senior year. And it was a city championship game, and we were playing at home. We had home field advantage at the time, so we were playing at home. And this was already like in the 4th or 5th inning, and the pitcher, it was getting kind of heated. It was like, I think the score at the time was like 3-1 us, and I know we were getting some good base hits off the pitcher. And this was supposed to be their ace pitcher, and he was getting kind of frustrated. So anyway, he threw one of his pitches. Our shortstop was up batting, and he threw the pitch, at his head, dug down. He missed it. So all right, well, okay, hey, everybody, kind of on edge at this time, So then the next pitch, he threw it. He threw a pitch, and I still remember it was Tony. His name was Tony. He hit the ball. It was a pop fly, and it went like right up the first baseline. So the first baseman was running up to catch the ball. Tony was running down the line to first base. And back then, I believe the rules, I don't know if they changed them or not, but I know back then the rules were the player had to give the line to the runner. So the player was coming down the line towards home because the pop fly was probably in the middle, probably between home plate and first base. So Tony was running up the line, and Tony didn't run around him. Tony just put his head down and ran right through him. So the first baseman was pissed. He got to first base, he didn't catch the ball. So the first baseman was pissed. So a couple of pickoff plays, they were trying to pick him off at second, and and at this time, like I said, the tensions were already going because we were kind of jawing back and forth out in the field, with the players as we were getting off and on off the field, or even the batters if they were at first or second base. I played third base, and we were like talking, you're just talking smack, So anyway, even the crowd, the parents and everybody were all getting into all the bad pitches. Like if it was a bad pitch inside, you can hear the stands just going crazy, like So anyhow, after this event, he was trying to pick him off. The first baseman caught the ball and he hit him. And he hit him kind of hard, and everybody was like, hey, So then pitcher threw a pitch. He got the ball back. Then he tried to pick him off again. This time he hit him he kind of hit him right in the back of the head, kind of hard. So at this point, when he got up to stand up, all we saw was Tony just clocked his arm back and clocked that first baseman right in the face. And then from there, we have a first base coach right there. He's coaching first base. So after he clocked him, the first baseman kind of fell down, but he came back up to go after Tony. Well, of course, their bench is clearing, our bench is clearing. And the first baseman was going back at Tony, and this was kind of weird because we actually lost one of our coaches. Because he actually put his hands on a student, so he grabbed him, kind of threw him to the ground because Tony had his back to him because he turned to look at the second baseman, which was charging him. So as he turned to look at the second baseman, the first baseman was going at him. Our coach grabbed him, kind of threw him on the ground. We kind of met in the middle. Everybody was just going haywire. Then, they finally got us broken up, and then it just spilled over. People in the stands were jumping the fence coming in from both sides. It got ridiculous. Had to call the cops. The game was canceled, and we had to actually replay it. Because this time we played it in a neutral place. But it was kind of crazy. It was wild. I've been of course playing football, baseball. I've been in fights before. On the field, but I've never been in where students, parents. We're students, but I'm talking about the non-student athletes. The students that are non-athletes. They jumped the fence. They were getting in it. Parents were getting in it. It was just wild. It was real wild. And those are my two, memorable moments as far as when I was going through high school. So. Alrighty, Clecards. This is my my video for your sub contest. Alrighty, the Hitman out.